Makers as bunch of green tea brewers after failed loan bid. Africa CDC launches public health emergency program for African leaders to boost the battle against COVID-19 pandemic. And one of the world's major social media platforms, Twitter, is about to open its first African operation house in Ghana. These and more coming on The World Today. Do stay with us. Good evening, viewers. You're watching The World Today newscast here on Africa TV with Ms. Hanatunka, and now to our news in detail. The students of the University of the Gambia have branded the nation's lawmakers after failed bid to allocate a sum of 54 million loan scheme, saying they are a bunch of green tea brewers. The country's Supreme Court earlier this week ruled that the National Assembly violated the Constitution when it amended the 2021 budget bill and allocated the said sum to parliamentarians. Esa Jamanka, a final-year law student, said some of these lawmakers are just passengers as they only go in for what favors them. Fatma Kasim has more of that in this report.
The Supreme Court of the Gambia ruled on Tuesday that the National Assembly violated the Constitution when it amended the 2021 budget bill and allocated a loan of 54.4 million to parliamentarians and staff of the National Assembly. The country's highest court said the lawmakers lacked the power to create their own budget line. The ruling came after the Gambia participated in the Center for Research and Policy Development filed a lawsuit against the National Assembly. The plaintiffs sought and have now obtained the Supreme Court's issue a declaration that the amendment done by the National Assembly is in contravention of Section 151, 152 and 155 of the Constitution and violation of Section 47 of the Public Finance Act 2014. Esa Jamanka, a final-year law student, said the ruling should serve as a lesson for the National Assembly members and all Gambians.
It should be a lesson to them, and also it should be a lesson to all Gambians, because this is a signal that the Gambians should be responsible. Gambians should vote in individuals to represent them, individuals who are concerned about their sorrows, their agonies. Okay, because you look at what is happening in the National Assembly, I will say I'm not even surprised that they came up with this. You know, we have people who in the National Assembly, all they are doing is to advocate for their own interests. They don't care about you and me, who voted for them to be in the National Assembly. So it is a lesson for some of the NAMs, you know, and then a lesson to all Gambians. Yeah, we should vote in people whom you know that they will speak for the interests of the people, not for their interests, actually. Because if you look at it in our National Assembly, I can say we have a whole lot of bunches of attire brewers, not to talk of my NAM, actually. So it is very, very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. And then Gambians should take it upon them to contest.
Fantasane, a law student of the University of the Gambia, is of the view that developing the jurisprudence of the country is key, adding that this court case is one way that has contributed. Fantaforda described the decision of the court as one of the most progressive decisions of all times.
This again shows that the Supreme Court or the judiciary is independent, and we can always count on them in issues of when issues of unconstitutionalities arise every time. So this again shows that our jurisprudence is actually developing as well, because in other progressive jurisdictions you go, you will find out that their laws are developed because they are tested, and then that is something that the Gambia is currently lacking. So the fact that our laws are being tested is one way of developing our jurisprudence, and then this can serve as an example for other jurisdictions to also learn from, because when an issue of this nature arises in countries like Kenya or Nigeria, and this case has been decided in Gambia, it can be quoted as one of the examples that can be quoted before the court, and then the court will take precedence. They will look at it and they will take judicial notice of the fact that this is an issue that has been decided in the Gambia and it's progressive. The decisions that was taken by the Supreme Court judges is progressive, and so they can rely on it to reach at a sound decision, and that will not amount to a miscarriage of justice. So yeah, for me personally, developing our jurisprudence is key, and this is one way that has contributed to it, and that is a plus for the Gambia at large. Yeah.
In November 2020, less than 2 years before the end of their legislature, Gambians lawmakers triggered concern among citizens when they decided to allocate the staggering sum from the approved annual estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year 2021. The money was meant to build houses on plots of land given to them by government of President Adama Barrow. Later the same year, two leading civil society organization groups, Gambia Participate and Center for Research and Policy Development, mounted a legal challenge on the decision of the nation's parliamentarians, a motion for injunction that was heard on 19 January 2021. The two civil society organizations demanded that the highest court of the land issued an order that prevent parliamentarians from pocketing the said loan. For iAfrica News, I am Fatoumata Kasim.
From the report by Fatmata Kasim. Moving on, the Africa Center for Disease Control and Prevention, in collaboration with the World Health Organization, has on Thursday launched the Health Emergency Leadership Program for Africa. The initiative is meant to help leaders in sub-Saharan Africa in their preparedness to fight against COVID-19 and other natural disasters. The CCA files in this report.
The COVID-19 pandemic has devastated the health and economic sector of the African continent, as many people lost their jobs during this crisis. To recover from the shocks created by the pandemic, the African Center for Disease Control and Prevention, together with WHO, launched the Health Emergencies Program for African leaders to allow diverse stakeholders share their experiences and challenges to prepare for future pandemics. The director of CDC, Dr. John, assured his organization's commitment to the program, adding that the initiative needs a high level of advocacy to move forward.
Today, May 6, as a continent, we have reported over 4.5 million cases of COVID-19. That represents a total of 3% of the cases globally. In terms of recovery, about 4 million of the 4.5 million have recovered across the continent, and that accounts for about 90% of the overall recoveries. In terms of that, as of today, the continent has reported 123,000 deaths, and that represents a case fatality rate of 2.7%. And if you put that in the context of the global deaths, our number of deaths represent 4% of the global number.
The impact caused by COVID-19 is more dangerous than the virus itself. As a result, the Health Emergencies Program will help the African leaders in their preparedness against the virus.
The whole program aims to nurture a unique type of leadership in safely managing the progressively increasing public health emergencies on our continent, Africa, through a collaborative approach. It will be targeting government and public health leaders in selected countries in sub-Saharan Africa. And it also aims to prepare our leaders to suitably devise a response strategy to public health challenges that result from natural disasters or disease outbreaks on the continent.
Established in July 2016, the World Health Organization's Health Emergencies Program is aimed at working with countries and partners to help build the capacity required to rapidly detect, respond to, and recover from any health threat. In the African region, more than 100 major public health emergencies are reported annually, affecting millions of people. As a result, the program seeks to meet the immediate health needs of crisis-affected populations, while simultaneously addressing the underlying causes of their vulnerability. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Daisy.
A Nigerian Navy vessel that left France in the mid of April docked in the port of Banjul to acquire the necessary logistics to facilitate the continuation back to Abuja. The new offshore survey vessel, which sailed via Portugal and Spain, will dock at Port Timor of Ghana before its expected arrival in Nigeria in the mid of May. As we feature in this report, the Gambian Navy welcomed the Nigerian sailors as a vibration of bilateral relations for the navies.
The berthing of this vessel on the ports of Banjul is in line with the naval tradition to provide logistics including fueling, food and preventive maintenance to smoothen the cruising to Nigeria. Senior officers from the Gambian Naval Headquarters received the ship under Commander Madani Senghor.
Nigerian Navy, they are visiting because they acquired a vessel. This vessel you're seeing behind us, it's a survey ship. It does hydrographic survey, and it is a highly sophisticated and well-equipped vessel. So it was just procured by the Nigerian Navy from France. So the vessel is now on her delivery voyage to her home port. So because of that, because of the strong bilateral cooperation between the government and people of Nigeria and the government and people of the Gambia, they chose the port of Banjul to come in to show their courtesy and also to replenish their vessel, and as well as the Chief of Nigerian Navy, the Chief of Naval Staff of Nigerian Navy, has just taken the mantle of the leadership. He sent an envoy in the passing of Rear Admiral Hassan, who is my very good friend, to come in and express the bilateral, the strong relations and then the desire to continue to forge this bilateral cooperation.
The collaboration between the two navies will help in addressing challenges of maritime insecurities as well as enhance trade among countries.
As you know, that Nigeria is part of West Africa, and we are also part of the Gulf of Guinea, and we have what is called the Yaoundé architecture. So to strengthen the cooperation between the big, small, and large and smaller navies to be able to overcome the various challenges of maritime insecurity in the region, that would help to enhance trade, facilitate safety, and also support the protection of our natural resources as well as the protection of the marine environment.
The Nigerian vessel landed at the old wharf at the Gambian ports, from where the crew and officials on board were warmly received. From the coast of Gambia, the sea soldiers are expected to make a last stop in Ghana before landing finally on the port of Nigeria. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Mariama Cham.
One of the world's most major social media platforms, Twitter, is about to open its first African operation house in Ghana. But this is not without concerns in some countries, including Nigeria. The move has, however, been welcomed by Ghanaians who believe it will further improve the technology industry in the West African state. And Twitter says it chooses Ghana for its first African settlement due to the country's open democracy, while promising to create job opportunities for its citizens. More of that in this report.
Kwabena Nkrumah has been connecting with people, especially technology savvies, on the social media app Twitter for more than a decade. He is among several Ghanaians excited about the company's decision to set up its first Africa office in Ghana. He believes it will drive a change in the technology space in the country.
Our skills are intangible, so it's very difficult for business to say, hey, a developer deserves this amount of credit or this amount of remuneration, because clearly they don't know how much it's worth. So for a company like this to come, it's going to raise the value of our developers, of our techies, and then thereby causing a shift.
Twitter says it settled on Ghana because of its support for free speech and democracy. It plans to employ 11 Ghanaians for positions including engineering, marketing, and communications specialists. But the choice of Ghana as Twitter's Africa headquarters hasn't been without controversy. Twitter fans in Nigeria see it as a snub to the continent's largest economy, which is also experiencing growth in its tech space since Facebook set up its first community hub in Africa in Nigeria in 2018. They wondered why their country was not selected because it has more than 36 million Twitter subscribers, which exceeds the entire population of Ghana. Analysts say Ghana had the upper hand because it's easier to do business in the country than Nigeria. In 2019, Ghana surpassed Nigeria in the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index, ranking 13 places higher. Nkrumah says the presence of Twitter in Ghana could unearth many brilliant minds in the technology space.
It may draw the attention to some local developers' products. That is good, but nobody is seeing. Maybe someone has created something that Twitter could put into Twitter and it could be very, very famous, but nobody's seen. But Twitter being here, that person could be seen.
Kwabena Nkrumah hopes this opportunity will help to transfer skills to many developers in Ghana and the entire African continent.
We will now go with a short commercial break. More to come on TWT. Stay tuned.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put in to constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception, our goal was to add value to the beautiful Gambian landscape. That's why we are proud innovators of community estates. Kololi Sands is an exceptional piece of work, tailored for ultimate convenience and luxury, to bring you an element of finesse that is rare but unique in its own. This is also our pride and joy, and we welcome you to the exquisite beauty right here in Kololi and right here on the waterfront. Kololi Sands, feel the ocean breeze at your doorstep.
Welcome back. If you're just watching, this is the World Today newscast here on Africa TV. And now to the rest of our stories. The Public Utility and Regulatory Authority has on Thursday conducted a stakeholder dialogue to address petroleum-related issues in the Gambia. The discussion that centered on licensing and road transportation brought together business entities in the road transport sector and other relevant stakeholders to enhance their capacity. The stakeholders described the forum as timely and necessary, as it will pave the way for them to operate efficiently in accordance with their operations.
The regulatory body gathered entities operating in the petroleum products, road transport business, drivers, and the security to discuss issues ranging from proper licensing as well as periodic guidelines on the testing regime on road tankers and vehicles transporting petroleum products in the Gambia. Licensing and proper driving has been a major challenge facing the security forces, as sometimes vehicles could be seen hugely parked along the highway due to invalid licensing, among other issues. Modlamin Samposize, Director of Petroleum, Water and Energy, says PURA have developed an inspection regime to an international standard meant to inspect a vehicle before a certificate is given. Mr. Cisse adds that some drivers were trained on safety as the country is growing significantly with traffic.
We have also in 2019 conducted training for drivers, again with our partner Royal Energy, Mr. Haidara, because safety is very important, as well as with the Gambia Fire Service. The whole reason we are doing this is that over the last 4 years, the country is growing significantly. We are seeing a lot of traffic, a lot of new petrol stations, and the delivery of this transport of the petroleum products into these areas would require higher standards. And so the vehicles have to be up to standard, the drivers have to be competent and also know what to do.
Inexperience and reckless driving are said to be one of the major causes of road accidents in the country. However, the security always came into conflict with drivers without proper license and other traffic regulations. Abdou Jan, the Assistant Commissioner of Police, explained some of the issues.
Recently, we have an issue with the Gambia Transport Union. I think they are around. Some people have been going for testing at the police garage to renew their driver license, and we seize them because we realize that when they go for testing, they fail the highway code, which means that they acquire their driving license through the back way. So the age limit also, we are working on that. We have seen also people having 24 years, 21 years driving vehicles of 30 tons, which is very dangerous on our highways. So that's what we are doing as of now.
Yaya Kamara, a supply chain officer at Riders for Health, who was also a participant, explains the importance of such forums from the regulatory authorities.
Personally, for me, it's very of great importance. We are working at Riders for Health, as I said, and we are directly dealing with the transport resource management. Here, when you talk of transport, in this particular forum, petroleum products, you can never dispense them without transport. So the transport aspect of it is paramount to safety, which we all should endeavor that the safeties are implemented. So actually, I want to generalize it because right now the rate of accidents happening in our society is just alarming. So in ensuring that those safety measures are implemented, this is one of the forums that you can achieve those objectives.
Previous regulations require that basic equipments for tanker trucks carrying petroleum fuels in the Gambia shall have transit vehicles from foreign countries. All vehicles shall be driven by a driver licensed by the Gambia Police Force, including placards with emergency numbers of the Gambia Fire and Rescue Services 118 and classification of the cargo and others. Reporting for iAfrica News, I am Mariama Cham.
And from the Gambia, moving on to India, where ambulance drivers have narrated their experiences in transporting patients and COVID-19 related deaths, including their own family members. The Asian nation is still battling against the devastating second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, which have caused over 200,000 deaths. Despite the risks involved in their operations, drivers remain committed to their jobs and serving their people in such a demanding period. There is more of that in this report.
Over the past year, this has become a far too common sight in India. As one ambulance leaves a COVID hospital or a crematorium, another one rushes in, overwhelming the drivers as they ferry patients and the dead. Abhinay Lad has been an ambulance driver for most of his life, and he had been delivering bodies of COVID victims to crematoriums for the past year. But even he wasn't prepared for the pain of losing a family member to the virus.
I was carrying bodies for other families. In here is the body of my elder brother's wife. Today I realized the pain the others were going through.
The official death toll has topped over 220,000, but many believe the actual figure is much higher.
Since this morning, I have responded to 6 calls. Not a single one of them was from patients. They were all requests to transport bodies.
As fears grow over more infectious viral mutations, many are hesitant to physically touch their infected family members or to perform the last rites for the victims. Often, the drivers have to step in.
We have to do all these things. I've even carried patients in my arms, those who are old and unable to get on the ambulance. Family members stay away for fear of getting infected. This also makes the patients more nervous. When one's own family stays away, the patients panic.
Even though the drivers realize that they are also at risk, they have to do their job, but they do fear for their families. Many have moved their families to their villages, or they themselves have rented a separate place to live. India's second wave was fueled by the public letting its guard down, with people attending weddings and other social gatherings, political rallies and mass religious events.
Citizens have ignored the risks. We don't listen to the government. People are loitering on the streets. Authorities are asking them to stay at home, but still no one does that. A lockdown is supposed to be in place, but can anybody say this is a lockdown? People are everywhere. What can the government do?
But many frontline medical workers and ambulance drivers stay committed to their jobs, demonstrating a steely resolve in carrying on the fight.
More patients continue to die of COVID-19 in India. Now coming back home, where former magistrate Samsidin Conte has accused former governor of Central River Region, Ganji Toure, of influencing magistrates in the execution of their duties. He said courts on the Jammeh area were manipulated by the powerful people, including the former governor. The former magistrate gave example of cases he presided over which attracted the interest of the president and his cabal, adding that his stance against the influence caused him to lose his work. All for the World Today newscast with me, Sohna Tunka. You can catch up with Mariama Cham on Gambia 24 at 2000 hours for more national stories. Thanks for watching and bye for now.
Star GSM Electronics. Special Ramadan promotion